All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Witty's Outdoor Reviews. Today, we don't have a bunch of Temu items. We have one thing. This is something I've been waiting for a while. Finally came in, so we're just going to do a quick review just on this. So, a lot of people that watch my videos have either camped, go hunting, backpacking, whatever. This isn't really a backpacking item, but as far as camping, hunting, that kind of deal, this would probably be ideal for them. I've been looking at them. This is actually, it's kind of weird. We'll get into it, but it's a copy of a Chinese made product. So that just lets you know right there that Chinese will copy anything, even their own stuff. But we'll get into this. Today we're going to be opening with the first generation. This is my pride and joy. I actually just found it. My wife actually found it in a box of some old camping stuff. I thought I lost it, but this is a first gen 1998 Leatherman Wave. So she's still sharp. She's been around. But we'll go ahead and this will be our opening tool for the day. So if any of you have never seen a Leatherman Wave, this is probably at its time and still today probably one of the best multi-tools that you can get. But we're going to jump right into here. Already right there, I can show you that, yeah, I would imagine that's Chinese writing, but we'll see. So, this is what they're calling a portable hand extraction heater, small card type. Can't tell you what any of that means. Basically, this is a small butane heater that they're calling a 3-in-1. And we'll get into that once we'll open it up and see here. I've seen some of these reviewed on the actual original Chinese product, which I'll show you what that is and what company makes those. And that's where I originally seen them on some videos that I've been watching on camp heaters. So we'll try to figure out how. This is probably the best box thing that I got off of Temu. I mean, it's actually packaged really well, considering. Sorry, I didn't think it was. Usually you just cut the white bag away and everything falls out. Okay, so if you can see, this is a small portable heater. We'll just go over some specs real quick before we get into everything. It's about 8.5 inches wide. Seven and a half inches deep. And about 6.5 inches tall. So that kind of lets you know, a lot of people use these in like RVs, if they're doing truck camping or SUV camping where they're actually staying in the back of their vehicle, they'll use these. Now, of course, disclaimer, if you're going to use this thing in any kind of enclosed area without good ventilation, you have a chance of getting hit with carbon monoxide or dioxide or monoxide. Sorry, I get those confused. CO. So I would recommend that if you're going to get one of these and you're going to use it inside it, they say this could be used in a tent, in a car, in an RV. If you're going to use one, man, buy a CO detector. It's probably your best bet, especially if you're traveling with your family or anything. If you're by yourself, still good to have one. If you're going to use this in an enclosed area, make sure you have ventilation. If it's in a car, SUV, truck, whatever, roll down 2 windows about 1/2 inch just to allow some airflow through there. And the CO2 or the CO detector is just going to go off and let you know that maybe you need to open them a little more. But from what I understand, these things get fairly warm. We're actually going to light it up in here. I've got a CO detector, and we will make sure we're staying safe. We are indoors. So, anyways, I'm going to open the instructions. So, basically it comes with a manual. And it's called APG Appliance Outdoor Gas Heater Instruction Manual. There's a picture. Tells basically shows everything in, I guess, the size, instructions. And this is America. We look at these when we can't figure it out, right? And most of the time they're not even in English. That does have English. So the 3-in-1. This is where it gets unique. So this is a stainless steel plate that goes on the front, right? Yeah. There we go. So how do we make this device 3-in-1? Just show you. So there's your adjustment knob. So it's got on, some little lines, and off. So, okay. So it's got a piezo igniter in it. You can hear it. So that's good. You don't have to light it with anything. So it's the handle, you can tell it's actually a pretty decent handle. I'd imagine doesn't transfer heat, right? So you can pick it up. It's the front. You can kind of see the heating mechanism. You see the little tray I put on the front. And then you see the side, right? So what that takes is, let me move this out of the way. These butane fuel bottles. These things are still cheap. It's one of the only camping fuels left that's still cheap. You can get these at Walmart for $2.97, I believe is what I paid for them. And they actually do last quite a bit, but I don't know how long it would last like in a heater. But basically that's it. We're gonna fire this thing up. I know it gives you a little window here in the back, because anytime you use a bottle like this, you can see that notch. That notch is going to coincide with a notch inside here. You have to put it in, turn it, lock it into place, and that's when you know you're safe to go ahead and ignite. From what I understand, people say that these things put out a lot of heat. And the way that it's 3-in-1, I'm sure everybody's looking at it going, oh, it's just a heater. Well, the reason why they're calling it 3-in-1, and I'll show you, and they made the top flat for a reason. You can put a couple on top of that. We'll just improvise, right? You can put a couple on top of it and use it to boil water. This part, you put a couple on top of that, and they call it a warmer. So it will actually warm or keep your warm food, or your food warm, or your coffee warm. So if you're sitting outside or in your tent, you've got your coffee, it's in a single walled container, and you're like, oh man, it's getting cool. Stick it on there, warm it up, good to go. Stick it on top, boil it, good to go. We're actually gonna light this thing up because I'm kind of curious. I mean, does it work? Does it heat? We're about to find out. So we're going to stick our butane in there. And we're going to make sure we're all lined up here. It's magnetic. You don't have to turn it or anything. I felt it lock into place. So this holds in with a magnet in there. So that's kind of cool. I thought you would have to push it in and turn it. All right. We're going to fire this baby up. See what happens. Hopefully it doesn't blow up. I don't know if you can see it, but she's lit, and I can feel the heat coming off of my face. And that got I got hot in a hurry. What am I on here? I guess that would be high. Okay, now we have it on the low feature. So as you can tell, it's mirrored in the back. Looks like maybe polished stainless, but it's curved, so it pushes all the heat up and out. Now what I was talking about, where the Chinese copy their own stuff. I'm going to show you a picture real quick. Let me find it. So a lot of camping videos do a review on this exact stove. You can't see it, but this is a Nature Hike portable heater. These things on Amazon are $103 for color khaki, which this one is. It's in the khaki color. It shut itself off. No, it's still on. Okay. But you can tell it's in the khaki color. The only thing I can tell different about it, if you look at the two, is the knob on the sides, khaki, where this one's black. Other than that, there's a bunch of similarities, but this one cost $40. So in my mind, $40 for a tent heater, and I can tell you, I'm feeling the heat coming off of this thing. I'm going to probably cut it off. Yeah, a lot of heat. I can, hold on, we're going to turn it back up to low. I guess I turned it off. There we go. Little finicky. You can see how fast it lights up. I mean, you can see the reflection in there. I'm going to leave this Stanley Adventurer cup on here for a couple of seconds and just see how warm it gets on the outside. I can tell you right now that, yeah, this is a or no, these aren't double insulated. So that would actually keep something fairly warm. If you had a meal in here and, you know, you had left it during the day, kept the lid on it, and wanted to heat it up to eat it for dinner, it would definitely do that, sticking it on the side. We probably will do another review, not indoors, because I'm not going to leave this thing lit in my dining room all night long. But we'll probably do another review on it and see how long it takes to boil water. I'm going to turn this thing off. It's actually getting hot in here. So I'm going to turn it off. But yeah, it was a cool little deal. Like I said, I got it on Temu for like $40.25. So, I mean, I think it's well made. Seems to be some kind of metal on the sides. I don't know if that's chrome plated metal or what, but the inside does look like polished stainless. This grate is stainless. So, I mean, there you can tell you have off and everything in between, and then you heard it, your ignition. That cranks it back on, and it lights fairly quick. You can tell you're starting to get that pretty bluing from where it's warming up that heater element on the inside. And this thing's pretty cool. But I can't tell you what it'll do unless we get it out in the cold. And we're going camping, this coming up weekend. And the temperatures are going to be like 65 at night, 80, 90 during the day. This thing came late. It's not the time that this is going to work. But if we get some cold weather in, I'd be interested in putting in a small tent and seeing what it does. But hey, if you like the video, if you want to know any more about the heater, please do me a favor. Comment, send me a comment, let me know. I'll give you more information as much as I can. Do me a favor, like, share, click that all notifications button, because, you know, the whole part of this channel is to give back to y'all. I buy things and I want people to know, hey, have you seen something like this? Have you been looking for something like this? Have you thought of alternative ways to heat your RV, travel trailer, toy hauler, back of your car, semi-cab, whatever it may be, tent, and you haven't really seen what's out there, you really don't know. I can tell you this is a well-made, cheap alternative as long as you're using a carbon monoxide alarm to let you know, and you have some good ventilation going through your space. I can tell you this is a 12 by 12 room that I'm in, and I can still feel the heat, and this is cold enough to touch. So it did heat up the room a little bit in the, 5 minutes we had it on. So anyways, and I like the fact most of the things I buy, I want them to have more than one purpose. This does. You have your warming table on front. It gets hot enough. Oh, in the back there, it's still pretty hot. So it gets hot enough to boil water, they say, which we're going to put that to the test. And then it's a heat source. So, and in my opinion, utilizing these, it is a cheap heat source. From what I've been seeing, if you keep it on low, they're saying these things will run for about 6 hours. We're going to have to try that out because I don't know. Because 6 hours of heat for less than $3, that's a winner in a small area, in my opinion. Because when I use cans of propane, those are probably good on low for about 4 hours. And they're a lot more expensive. You're looking at maybe $4 to $5 a can. So if you can get 6 hours out of 8.8 ounces of butane fuel, man, that's a good heating source at a value. So, and you can tell it's got little feet. It doesn't have any kind of tip over mechanism or anything like that. So if you're going to take this thing, you got to watch where you put it, watch what you set it on. It's not like you can just throw this in the corner and your sleeping bag goes over the top. You're probably going to catch yourself on fire. You've got to be conscious, make a table for it, stick it in the corner of an area where you're not going to touch it, and it'll probably do a good job. I've seen a lot of people, they'll utilize their center console. They'll put a piece of tile on their center console, stick this on top, or one like this, the Nature Hike one. They'll stick it on top, and it's elevated. It's not an area where they're going to knock it over or anything like that. So anyways, quick video. Like I said, if you like the content, leave me a comment. Let me know. You want to know more about this? Leave me a comment. Be glad to answer. You can look through my comments. Everybody that's commented, I have answered. The whole purpose of doing these videos is to make sure people understand what I've bought, what it'll do, is it worth it, and should you buy it? And I will tell you right now, just from what I've seen of this, I'm impressed. But it doesn't mean anything until I take it out and field test a little bit more. I just wanted to unbox it, show you what it is, tell you what it costs, explain some of the functions, and now the true test begins, right? So leave me a comment. We're going to try it out. We'll find out. Appreciate it, guys. Like, subscribe, and check all notifications. Love y'all. We'll see you on the next episode. All right, guys. I said I'd bring y'all back and let you know when we tested it, but then I got to thinking, man, I'm kind of curious. I want to see if it does boil water and how fast it'll do it. But as I was picking this thing up, I noticed something, and I just want to make sure people understand is, you see this carrying handle, how it's weighted in the back? That's how you would end up carrying it if you were going to carry it or move it. So just wanted to show that. That's kind of awkward. I don't know why they didn't just put it up here in the center so you can carry it level, but it carries at an angle. But I mean, picking it up to move it, it'll work. So we've got an improvised Coleman test table. And we'll have 2 cups. I guess we're gonna boil 2 cups of water. So this is just an enameled camping cup. Sorry, I was walking around my wife who's filming, so sorry about that. But anyways, we're gonna cut this thing on and we're gonna see how long it takes to heat it up. So, and we're gonna heat it up on probably, what do you think, high? So we're on high. You can tell she's lit. And I'm worried that it's gonna force a lot of the heat out of the front, but now heat rises, we'll see. We're gonna put that on there. As you can tell right now, nothing's boiling, and we'll see how long it takes.
One eternity later.
All right, guys, now you can see where to roll and boil. Keep in mind, this thing is a heater first. While we're standing here, we can feel the heat coming off of it, but 2 cups of water in a billy pot took right at almost 11 minutes. 10 minutes and 52 seconds to come to a rolling boil. Now, just in case, for all fairness, I got to give it, benefit of the doubt. It's not cold. It's 67 degrees with a 7-mile-per-hour wind coming out of the southeast, so the wind's coming across the back of it here. If it's all you had and you wanted to boil water, will it do it? Absolutely. And still keep you warm. Will it heat something up? Absolutely. But it's not like a fire maple or jet boil. It's not going to boil water in 2 minutes. It took 11 minutes, almost 11 minutes to get to a rolling boil. But other than that, the whole time we were warm while we were doing it. I mean, it's 7-mile-per-hour wind chill's probably 60 degrees. So, yeah, it'll boil water. You can cook on it. It's just going to take it a minute. Its primary purpose is the heat. If you had to use it to boil water, I wanted to see if it would even do that. And it will. Just take some time. Be patient. Set your tent up. Do some other things. In about 7 minutes, it got hot enough for a cup of coffee. So if you wanted to make a cup of coffee, about 7 minutes you would have got the bubbles on the bottom. It would have been plenty hot enough to make a pot of coffee with. But to get it to a rolling boil to reconstitute food or anything like that, you're looking at about 11 minutes to get boiling water. So I wanted to get y'all in real time instead of making another video. Let you know that it will boil water. So yeah, I mean, for 40 bucks, not a bad little, I guess, stove slash heater slash warmer. Anyway, so we'll see y'all in the next video. Appreciate it. Thanks.
That's all, folks.